It is, without a doubt, one of the most bewildering experiences a man can go through. You meet a woman, and the connection is not just good, it's cosmic. The intimacy, the vulnerability, the way she looks at you, it feels like you finally found what you've been searching for. You are convinced she is falling deeply in love with you, and all the evidence points in that direction. And then, it happens. She starts to ignore you. The long, heartfelt conversations are replaced by one-word answers. The plans you were making are met with, "I'm busy." The warmth that felt like home is now a cold, distant silence. Your brain cannot compute the data. How can someone who feels so much suddenly act like they feel nothing at all? Your first thought is, "I was a fool. It was all in my head." But what if it wasn't? What if her silence isn't proof she doesn't love you, but is actually a terrified, subconscious reaction to how much she does? What if her distance is a direct measure of the emotional impact you've had on her? Today, we are delving into a deep psychological paradox. This isn't about games. This is about fear, self-preservation, and the unconscious tests women use when they are on the verge of giving their heart completely. To understand this phenomenon, you have to understand the female emotional overload circuit. For many women, especially those who have been hurt in the past, falling deeply in love is not a gentle, happy process. It is a seismic event. It is an act of supreme vulnerability. It feels like standing on the edge of a cliff, about to jump, trusting that someone will be there to catch you. That level of vulnerability is terrifying. If her feelings for you are growing at an exponential rate, it can trigger a psychological panic. Her brain's ancient survival mechanism kicks in, screaming, "Warning! Danger! High risk of catastrophic heartbreak." Her pulling away and ignoring you is her subconscious mind hitting the emergency brake. It's an attempt to slow the fall, to regain control of a situation that feels dangerously out of her control. Her silence is not about you. It's about her trying to manage the overwhelming intensity of her own heart. This happens for three primary reasons. The first and most primal reason is what I call the self-preservation retreat. To understand this, you have to visualize her heart as a fortress. If she's lived any amount of life, that fortress has been attacked before. It has weak spots, old wounds, and every stone is a memory of past pain. Your connection wasn't a polite knock at the gate. It was a seismic event that breached those walls without permission. And while one part of her, the hopeful part, is running out to greet you with open arms, another, much older part, the fortress guard, is sounding every alarm bell. The psychology in depth. This is more than just being scared. It's what psychologists sometimes refer to as a vulnerability hangover. The intoxication of the deep connection is followed by the nauseating fear of the morning after. Her internal monologue is a war. One voice says, "This is it. This is real. Let go." But the louder, more scarred voice screams, "It's a trap. This feels exactly like the last time, and you know how that ended. He will see your flaws and he will leave. He will betray you. Pull back now before the damage is irreversible." This is not a logical process. It is a visceral, emotional reaction rooted in trauma and the instinct to survive. So she retreats. She ignores you to create distance, to see if she can still live without you, to prove to her panicked inner guard that she is still in control and can slam the gates shut if she needs to. What this looks like. She cancels a date at the last minute with a vague excuse like, "not feeling well," or "something came up." Her texts go from warm, multi-paragraph essays to clipped one-word answers. She seems almost angry or agitated, as if she's fighting an internal battle and you're the embodiment of it. The low-value man's mistake. He panics. He sees her retreat as a rejection of him, so he desperately tries to close the gap. He smothers her with reassurance. "I would never hurt you. You can trust me. What did I do wrong?" He tries to fight a war for her that she must fight for herself. In doing so, he becomes another source of pressure, confirming her fear that this is all too much, too fast. The high-value response. You recognize that her silence is not about you. It is her war. Your job is not to fight it for her, but to be the calm, unshakable lighthouse she can see from the battlefield. You give her space, not as a punishment, but as a sign of your respect for her process. Your stability from a distance is the only thing that can convince her fortress guard to stand down. The second reason is one of the most critical and often unconscious tests a man will ever face, the stability test. As her feelings for you deepen, the stakes get higher. She is on the verge of handing you the most fragile and precious thing she owns, her heart, her trust, her future. Before she takes that final leap, her ancient biological programming needs to run one final brutal stress test on your character. She needs to know, in her bones, that you are a safe harbor. She needs to know if you are the rock, or just another ship that will be tossed about and broken in the storm of her emotions. The psychology in depth. How does she test this? She becomes the storm. By going cold, distant, and silent, she is creating a vacuum of emotional turbulence. She is not consciously thinking, "I will now test this man." Her subconscious is taking over, creating a crisis simulation to observe your reaction under pressure. Her unasked question is deafening. Can you handle me? Not just the happy, fun, easy-to-love me, but the scared, distant, complicated me. Are you strong enough to hold space for my fears without making them about your insecurities? What this looks like. This often happens immediately following a peak moment of intimacy, after you first sleep together, after she says something deeply vulnerable, or after a perfect date. The silence feels different. It's not angry, it feels observational, like she's watching and waiting. She might even provoke you slightly to see if you'll react with anger or insecurity. The low-value man's mistake. He takes the bait. He makes it all about him. He panics and fails the test spectacularly. He double texts, "Are we okay? Did I do something wrong?" He gets angry and sends a passive-aggressive message. He reveals his own emotional instability. In that moment, he gives her the answer she was dreading. "No, I cannot handle your heart. My own ego is too fragile." The high-value response. You understand that her storm is not about you. You are the captain of your own ship. You remain calm, centered, and unmoved. You give her the space she's taking without question. You continue to focus on your own life, your own mission. Your calm is not a tactic. It is the answer to her test. It communicates non-verbally, "Yes, I can handle you. My emotional core is not dependent on your validation. I am a safe place. When you are ready to come back to shore, I will be here, unshaken." The third reason is the most logical and least personal, yet it can feel just as confusing. It's what I call the integration phase. Falling in love for a woman who has a life she has built for herself is a logistical and emotional earthquake. Her world, which was a well-organized universe revolving around the sun of me, is now being profoundly shaken by the gravitational pull of a new star, you. The prospect of becoming an us requires a massive mental and emotional reorganization. The psychology in depth. Think of her life as a house she has carefully decorated. Now, she's considering letting someone else move in. She needs to walk through every room and figure out what it means. Where do you fit? How does your presence affect her career ambitions? How do you fit in with her friendships and family, which have been her primary support system? How do her long-term goals and your long-term goals align? This isn't a simple pros and cons list. It's a deep, intuitive, and often solitary process. To do this, she needs to disconnect from the intoxicating, often blinding energy of your direct interaction. She needs to step away from the painting to see it clearly. Her ignoring you is her turning inward to consult her own heart and her own mind without your influence. What this looks like. This silence might feel less emotional and more practical or preoccupied. She might still be active on social media, even liking your posts, but avoiding deep one-on-one conversation. The excuse of being busy during this phase is often completely true. She is busy, mentally and emotionally, re-architecting her future. The low-value man's mistake. He makes her internal process an external rejection of him. He doesn't have the emotional intelligence to see that her silence is about her own life logistics. He thinks, she's active online but ignoring me, so she must not care. He gets insecure and pressures her for an answer she doesn't have yet, short-circuiting her entire integration process and making him seem like a source of stress rather than a potential partner. The high-value response. You practice patient leadership. You have the wisdom to recognize that she needs this space to process. You give it to her freely, without pressure. You continue to build your own life, demonstrating that you are a man with his own solid foundation. Your message, sent through your confident inaction, is, I understand. I am on my path, building my own life. Take the time you need. I will be right here, thriving when you figure it out. This low-pressure confidence is exactly what she needs to see to conclude that integrating you into her life is the right decision. So, you're facing the silence. You now understand it may not be rejection, but a reaction to intensity. Your every instinct is to chase, to fix, to close the gap. To do so is to fail the test and confirm her fears. Your only move is the Lighthouse method. A lighthouse does not chase ships. It does not panic in a storm. It stays firmly rooted, shines its light consistently, and acts as a beacon of safety and stability. Step 1. Hold your position. Do not chase. Do not text, "Is everything okay?" You must give her the space she is asking for. Your silence will be the loudest, most confident message you can possibly send. It says, I am not shaken by this. I am so secure in myself and in our connection that I trust you to navigate your own feelings. Step 2. Shine your light on your own life. You will take all your energy and focus it back on your mission. Go to the gym, crush your goals at work, spend time with your friends, project your value and your happiness on your social media, not to get her attention, but because you are genuinely living an amazing life. You are the source of your own light. Step 3. Be the harbor, not the storm. When she is ready to re-engage, and if the connection is real, she will send a text. Your response must be warm, calm, and without pressure. No, "Where have you been?" Just a simple, "Hey, it's great to hear from you. I hope you're doing well." You are the safe harbor she can return to, not another storm she has to face. So, why do women ignore you when they're deeply in love? Because a love that deep is a fire, and she needs to know you won't be consumed by it. She needs to know you are strong enough to hold it. Her silence is a cry for stability. It's a test of your emotional core. It's her subconscious asking, are you the man who can handle this? Are you the king who is not afraid of the power of his queen? By becoming the lighthouse, you give her the only answer that matters. You prove with your actions that you are not a boy who needs her, but the man she can trust with her heart. And that is the foundation upon which real, lasting love is built. Now, I want to hear your story. Have you ever experienced this paradox? A powerful connection followed by a sudden withdrawal? Share your experience in the comments. You'll realize you're not alone. If this video shed light on a confusing situation for you, do me a favor and smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dive psychology, and hit that notification bell. Be the lighthouse. I'll see you in the next one.